Open on a pen tracing a perfect rose curve. What if I told you that one of the most satisfying things you've ever drawn without any artistic skill at all was secretly doing calculus? You probably had one of these as a kid. Maybe your mom had one. Maybe you found it in a drawer and got completely lost for an afternoon. This is a spirograph, and it is way more mind-blowing than you remember. What is it? The deceptively simple setup. At its core, a spirograph is two gears, one big ring, one small disc, and a pen stuck through a hole in the small one. You roll the little disc around the inside of the ring. The pen traces a path, and somehow, you get these gorgeous, perfectly symmetrical curves every single time. No artistic skill, no ruler, just a plastic disc and simple motion. The geometry does all the work, the math, hypotrochoids. The curves have a name. Mathematicians have a name for these curves. They're called hypotrochoids, or roulette curves. And they're generated by a very specific equation involving the radii of both circles and the distance from the center to your pen hole. Here's the wild part. Change just one variable. Move the pen to a different hole, and you get a completely different flower. Different number of petals, different symmetry, different vibe entirely. The ratio of the two gear sizes controls how many petals you get. If that ratio is a simple fraction like 1/3, you get a clean, closed loop. If it's something messier, like 5 to 7, you get a more intricate, star-like shape that takes longer to close. It's essentially fractions and ratios, middle school math, drawing pictures that look like they belong in a museum. History, from Victorian labs to your living room floor. These curves weren't invented for kids. Back in the 1800s, mathematician and engineer Bruno Abacanovich developed early gear drawing machines to study these exact patterns, purely as a math curiosity. But it was a British engineer named Dennis Fisher who, in 1965, turned the concept into a toy. He was actually trying to design a new type of bomb-proof security system using gears, which is a very intense origin story for something you give a 7-year-old. Hasbro picked it up, sold millions of sets, and by the 1970s, practically every American kid had one. It won Toy of the Year in the UK. It was genuinely considered one of the most innovative products of the decade. Not bad for a plastic gear set that teaches you math without you realizing it. Try it. You can do this right now. Here's something I love. Spirograph sets are still being made, and they're still like $20. But if you don't want to wait for shipping, there are free Spirograph simulators online where you can drag sliders and watch the curves build in real time. Try this. Set the outer ring to 96 teeth, inner gear to 60, and put the pen at the outer edge of the disc. You get this incredible 8-pointed star pattern, then move the pen one hole inward. Totally different result. Same gears, one hole. That's the magic. Tiny inputs, wildly different outputs. It's actually a beautiful way to see how sensitive systems are to small changes. Mathematicians call that sensitivity. Kids call it fun. Outro call to action. The best toys have always been sneaky about math. Spirograph is just one of the most beautiful examples. If you want to see more hidden math in everyday objects, subscribe and drop a comment telling me the first color pen you always grabbed from the Spirograph set. For me, always red.